North Korea crisis, South's leader in plea to avoid war. South Korean President Moon Jae-in has called on his U.S. ally to help prevent a war, amid worsening tension over the North's nuclear threat. Mr. Moon told the visiting top U.S. military official that there must be a diplomatic solution to the crisis. General Joseph Dunford said the U.S. priority was diplomacy, but he added that it was committed to defending the South against a possible military attack. The North on Monday said any war could only be turned into a nuclear war. Also on Monday, China's Commerce Ministry issued an order banning a slew of imports from North Korea, in line with additional UN sanctions that were announced earlier this month. The sanctions were introduced in response to a wave of missile tests and increased military rhetoric from North Korea. In another development, Ukraine has denied supplying North Korea with rocket engines from one of its factories. A report in the New York Times suggests that Soviet-era engines made at the Yuzhmash factory in Dnipro, the city known until recently as Dnipropetrovsk, were supplied to the North illegally. U.S. President Donald Trump has warned North Korea against threatening the American territory of Guam. The U.S. has 28,500 troops in South Korea. Speaking on Monday, Mr. Moon said, "Our top priority is the national interest of South Korea, and our national interest lies in peace. I am confident that the U.S. will respond to the current situation in a calm and responsible manner in line with our policy direction." He urged the North to stop all provocations and hostile rhetoric immediately, instead of worsening the situation any further. Jim Dunford, chairman of the U.S. Joint Chiefs of Staff, said after meeting Mr. Moon that the U.S. sought a peaceful resolution to the crisis with the North. "Our job is to make sure our leadership has an option available to them," he added, as quoted by South Korea's Yonhap news agency. "I believe there are two things we are clear about: 1, our responsibility to defend against attack, 2, our requirement to make sure we have a decisive response in the event of attack." The U.S., he said earlier, had viable military options in the event that the diplomatic and economic pressurization campaign fails. The general is due to travel on to China and Japan. The North's news agency, KCNA, warned on Monday that a conflict could be sparked by a minor incident. "The problem is that if the war occurs, it can only be turned into a nuclear war," it said. Plus on Sunday, U.S. National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster said he did not think the sides were closer to war than a week ago, while CIA Director Mike Pompeo saw no intelligence to suggest the sides were on the cusp of a nuclear war. Meanwhile, China has signaled it will halt iron ore and seafood imports from North Korea starting on Tuesday, following the UN resolution on sanctions.